This is a brief overview of the MicroWin 4.0 operating environment. The first thing I'd like to point out is under the folder tree we now have a What's New selection. This highlights all of the new features for MicroWin 4.0 versus the prior release of version 3.2 Service Pack 4. For new users, you'll notice it has a similar look and feel to that of Microsoft Outlook with a title bar, menu bar, toolbars, navigation bar, folder tree, information window, and a program editor window. Now the navigation bar holds icons for the most commonly used tools and views, while the information window displays status of compiles or downloads. If you do have any errors, they'll be displayed and documented down here in the information window. You can double click it, it'll place the square cursor directly over that error. Here in the program editor window you can see 3 program operating units that come with every new MicroWin project: main object block, a blank subroutine, and a blank interrupt. They can also be found here in the folder tree under program block with main object block, subroutine, and interrupt. It's important to note the difference between a subroutine and an interrupt. A subroutine organizes and increases the speed of your program, as subroutine logic is only executed when it's called. Thus it decreases the scan cycle time and increases the speed of your project. While subroutines are called by your program logic, interrupts are event-driven. Interrupts are triggered by events such as communication events like transmission complete or characters received, high-speed counter value monitoring, or positive or negative transition monitoring for on-make or on-break of an input trigger, or predefined timed intervals can be used as event triggers for interrupts. Please note that interrupts pause the execution of main logic, and then main logic resumes execution when interrupt logic completes or a return instruction is executed. A good rule of thumb for interrupts is to keep them short and sweet. Now up here on the toolbar, you'll note that the first 9 icons are the Microsoft standards with which we're all familiar and comfortable, all the way down to the infamous Oops Undo button. You can undo up to your last 50 actions, while this check box with a sheet of paper here is to compile the current view, and the Compile All has 2 documents behind it with the checkbox. This resolves your entire project, while the blue up and down arrows are to upload and download your project. How do you know if you're uploading to the PLC or if you're uploading to your PC? That's easy. If you envision this black line as the PLC, then you know if your data is coming from the PLC or if you're downloading your data to the PLC. These 2 grayed out icons are for sorting your selection in ascending or descending order, while this icon here is the options icon. The options icon is used for customizing the look and feel of the MicroWin 4.0 operating environment. Greater details about options can be found in the options video selection on this CD. Now this toolbar here is the debug toolbar. The first icon is to place the PLC in run, and the red square is to place the PLC in stop. Now these 2 icons are only active and they only work with the mode switch in the run or the terminal position. Please note that the mode switch, change of state, or in the stop position take precedence over these 2 icons. Greater details about the debug toolbar can be found in the debug and trending video selection on this CD. Now these 2 icons here are for inserting and deleting networks. A network is also commonly known as a rung in ladder logic terminology. These 3 icons here are for documentation, for program comments, network comments, and of course the symbol information table. Symbol information tables are placed below any network that has a symbol or tag within it. These 4 blue flags are bookmarks. Bookmarks are used just like dog-earing a page in your favorite reference manual. So let's say I am working down here on an important network number 24, and I need to reference this network frequently. I can place a bookmark with this first blue flag, and you'll notice a blue tab that appears next to the network. So at a later time, if I'm up here on network 1, and I need to reference that network, I can click the next bookmark, and you'll notice the cursor jumps right to network 24. Now these 2 symbol handling icons are intended for the 2 schools of thought when it comes to programming. The first philosophy is to define all your inputs, outputs, and process values. Then you write your logic, and you can click this icon to apply those symbols to the logic that you've just written. The second school of thought is to write your logic and use symbol names within your logic, and when you're done, you can use this symbol to create a table of all of the undefined symbols in your project. These 4 arrows are for connecting contacts, coils, and function boxes, while these 3 icons are for placing coils, contacts, and function boxes. There are 3 ways to get to most program components. The first is through the menu bar. With tools, you can find wizards and other tools. The other choice is here under view. You can go to components and view any program components there. Your second choice is of course the navigation bar, where you can find tools and views. And third is the folder tree, where you can find tools and views listed here. Now with 3 ways to get to the same program components, I have to point out the one exception to that pattern, and that is symbols. Any symbols that are defined here in the folder tree are global symbols that are accessible by your entire program at any given point in time, while symbols that are defined here in the program editor window are local variables that are only usable by that program operating unit. So if I'm in a subroutine and I find a symbol defined here at the top, that's pretty much used as just an in or out for data into and out of that subroutine. Another great feature to point out is the favorites folder. There's more than 280 instructions in this folder tree, and the chances of you using all 280 are not likely. So we have a favorites folder that acts just like the Microsoft favorites folder. Take instructions you use most frequently, drag and drop them in there, and then this way in the future you don't have to navigate the entire folder tree. Just the instructions you use most frequently are accessible in a single place. The last and likely most powerful feature about MicroWin is the libraries feature. Libraries give you the ability to black box large sections of code and turn them into single instructions. They come in two flavors: Siemens user-defined libraries or custom user-defined libraries. The Siemens libraries can be accessed through the software toolbox for the USS protocol to speak with Siemens drives, or the Modbus protocol for the S7200 to be a slave on a Modbus network, while user-defined custom libraries give you great strength and versatility for code usage within the user's program. Greater details about libraries can be found in the library selection on this CD. And this has been an overview of the MicroWin 4.0 operating environment.